Welcome back to Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast weekly show. I feel like we haven't done one of these in a while. We've had the Vuelta. Too much racing.
Is it the monthly show at this point?
I think we've done we'll have done more than 12. But we are getting into the news time of the year because, the Vuelta's finished, World's Week is finished. We do have Europeans this week, but we're not going to cover that, the TT Daily. We will cover the races on the weekend at some point. But today we have more general news to cover, as always brought to you by our show partner, Join Cycling. We have the UCI ranking. That's really been an undercurrent throughout the post-Tour de France 2-month period. The Tour de France ended, was about 2 months ago.
Yep.
And ever since then, there's been a lot of racing, some of which we haven't covered because it's on the minor calendar. And there's been a huge battle there. So we'll talk about that a lot. The rule changes there as well. Some UCI updates. David Lepartien's election. Some transfers, but not too much. Then the previews of the Europeans, Crow race, and Giro dell'Emilia this weekend, which is always a beautiful race in Bologna. So, UCI ranking, Benji, where are we at today? I'll maybe remind people up front, what are the rules for 26?
Okay, so just as a guideline, I'll start off by saying that there's a link in the show notes or description of the YouTube that links to a page where you can see the actual rankings made by our man, what's his name again? Oh my god, Patrick, help me. Raul Bancheri. On the Lanterne Rouge website, that's going to be important here. But I will say there's 3 aspects here. 3 different relevant rankings. First of all, you've got the 3-year cycle. So the 3-year cycle from 2023 until 2025. That's a 3-year period that is super important here because the points throughout those 3 years will define who's going to get a UCI World Tour license for the next 3 years. So for the next 3-year cycle. And the way that works is the first 18 teams that scored the most UCI points in those 3 years, so 2023 to 2025, will get a UCI World Tour license on paper for the next 3 years. That's the basic rule set there. So we'll start off with that discussion. I'll discuss the rest of the rule sets once we get to that a bit later. But about that World Tour license 3-year cycle. So, Picnic and Intermarché, those teams are in, I think, P16, P17 at the moment, so they're within that top 18. Those teams are basically safe. There was a period before the Vuelta, or even before the Tour de France, when Only hadn't gotten his top 5 in the Tour de France yet. When Picnic looked really bad, they're now safe. I thought they were doomed a few months ago. So that's how swiftly these UCI World Tour rankings, they can change quickly. But Patrick, UNOX and Cofidis, that was the battle we are looking at. Because this year we're not just talking about the top 18, we're potentially talking about the top 19 to get a World Tour license next year, because there's 2 teams that are currently projected to get a World Tour license, Lotto and Intermarché, that might have an acquisition happening into one team. It's not really a merger, but those teams might form one team next season. It's likely to be at this point, which means that they will only take up one World Tour license next year, which makes it possible for the 19th team to also get a World Tour license here. But can you guide us through how the situation is between UNOX and Cofidis roughly at the moment?
Yeah, so Cofidis are neck and neck with UNOX, and I think we can assume the merger is going through because Stefan Hulot and Lotto have officially parted ways.
Yep.
The CEO of Lotto, and that's normally to make way for another CEO coming in. So I think the Intermarché management will come in, but it will be on Lotto's license. So basically, 2 licenses go to 1, and so the 18 licenses that are available, an extra spot frees up because both of those teams would have been entitled on sporting merit to be world teams, but Intermarché, they didn't have the money. So they're merging, and that looks likely to happen. UNOX are racing everywhere. Cofidis are racing everywhere. Picnic, as you said, are safe because, if thanks to Oscar Only, pretty much entirely. Yeah. If he was last year he was a top 40 rider in the world by PCS. If he was just that level, they would be about level with UNOX Cofidis. But he turned into top 5 Tour de France level and scored 3,000 UCI points. So
crazy.
Yeah, that saved them. But then on the other hand, you have Max Poole, who's been injured, so swings and roundabouts, but still only is the architect of that.
So UNOX is currently in that P19, the one that, if Lotto and Intermarché come together, would also get a UCI World Tour license. So UNOX is projected to be a World Tour team next year, but only has 180 points on Cofidis right now. And I want to look into both teams a little bit here because UNOX is actually quite active at the moment. I think as of recording this, we just had a stage of the Tour de Langkawi where Alexander Kristoff got second behind Malucelli in a centimeter sprint, scoring UCI points. Sure, in stages at Malaysia, you won't be getting 500 UCI points, but every bit matters to try and increase the gap on Cofidis. So even those races in not so close countries to Norway, those points matter the same, regardless of where your race is. So they're definitely going there. They're definitely scoring UCI points, and that matters. But they're also not having a perfect run because I haven't seen Tobias Halland Johannesson perform since the Tour de France. I assume there's some injury or something happening there. Kortz suffering from fatigue after competing at the Tour de France while sick, so he's also not scoring much at the moment, although Magnus Kort was not always the rider that I look at to say, okay, that guy is the guy that scores the ultimate UCI points. For me, he was the guy that, okay, he goes to a big race, wins a stage, stuff like that for this team, which I'm pretty sure he won a Dauphiné stage for this team already, so definitely showed up and did that. But they specifically advised their riders to not ride the World Championships in Rwanda, to avoid jeopardizing the rest of their season. So only Leknesund ended up going, and I think he finished 6th in the time trial. So that was a success.
He took 160 UCI points across the 2 days, so it was actually worth it.
I think so as well. Meanwhile, Cofidis, they're 180 points behind, so they're currently projected to not have a World Tour license. And I was thinking, okay, what are the reasons here? Because there was an interview with Piet Allegaard where he mentions that there's a lot of injuries and stuff in the team. For example, Allegaard and Simon Carr were out for half the year due to injuries. Finet and Toumir, which are French youngsters, they had iliac artery troubles. But when I hear those names, then I also don't think, okay, if these 4 riders, were not injured, I don't expect them to score massive points either. Could it have been enough for 180 UCI points? Perhaps. That is perhaps likely if they have those races, but for me, there's a bigger issue here, and we saw some news come out the other day in L'Equipe where Cédric Vasseur, the manager of the team, the one that posted the shush emoji after Lafay won the Tour de France stage, and then the team became worse the year after, so the shush effect didn't really work out up here, and I'm afraid that he's now been shushed because he's out of the team. So that's intriguing, but for me, like, we had a Cofidis preview at the start of the year. We were not necessarily nice about their transfers. I vividly remember not being nice because I looked at the transfers back in the day and I looked at them and I saw, okay, Dylan Teuns, that's not a cheap rider, but he's not going to score. He often does not score regular UCI points throughout the season, throughout his career. Yes, he can have a top 10 at the Tour of Flanders, something like that, but he needs consistent UCI points throughout the year, which a rider like that doesn't often bring. And he's not at his peak anymore anyway, so he's going to get worse compared to the years where he did do that. So for me, the transfer policies are majorly at fault, but I think there's more issues than that, because even with the way Zangler left the team, I swear there was a lot of drama around that, no?
Well, he was out of the Tour de France team because he was leaving, and then there was pressure to put him back in because he was their best rider, but then he had to do the lead-outs for Cockard, but then it just didn't work because they're the same style of rider and Zangler was stronger, so it was all a bit of a mess. But I think it's the Really, I was listening to an interview with Luke Bourne, like a podcast.
Who is that, for the people that don't know?
He's a football analytics man, but he's American. He's like a physicist.
So a soccer analytics man, you're saying?
Yes, and he was basically saying, yeah, really, transfers and the quality of talent you get into the team, it's all nice to do a lot of other stuff, but that dictates a lot of how good your team is going to be.
Yep.
And when you look at their transfer window for this year, I mean, you can just read through the names the last 2 years, and that's why they're in the hot seat to get relegated, because there's been some good ones. Anilkovsky, I think that's a good sort of signing. Fretin, great signing. we're sensing a common theme here. Aaron Broe, good signing. Aaron Broe's doing what they brought him to do, 1,200 UCI points.
Yep.
They're all versatile sprinters or classic C sprinters, not superstars, but they can score you points. And then there's a whole lot of just misc of guys who also are not on 60,000. They're on probably 250, and they don't do anything. They're not a sprinter. They can't do a lead out. They might be able to control a race for you, but Cofidis don't have to control races because they're not the favorite. And they should have just kept signing versatile sprinters, or classic C sprinters, even very limited. Dusan Rajovic, okay, it sounds like a joke, but you don't think he could come fifth at Le Mans? Or GP Isberg? You don't think he can come fourth?
A highly competitive race, my friend.
Look at his season. I mean, yeah, he'll crash occasionally, but yeah, they just needed more sprinters on a minor calendar, and that's what UnoX have, because UnoX have that with Christoph. UnoX also have Abrahamsen, and you look at
Vernes, who's not a sprinter, who can win a sprint.
Yeah, and he somehow won a Norway sprint.
Yeah.
Which, that was crazy. And when you look at then the top level of quality, UnoX have that too. I mean, in the Grand Tours, they haven't been that good either. They're behind Tudor. They're behind...
Except Johannesson.
UCI. Pardon?
Except Johannesson at the Tour de France GC.
Yeah, except Johannesson, that was really good. But apart from that, they don't do too much. But outside of it, then in August, they were ready to race in Belgium with Abrahamsen, who also won a Tour de France stage. But Cofidis have scored 592 points in the Grand Tours. I mean...
It's nothing.
That's less than 10 points per race day in a Grand Tour.
Quite literally, I don't want to plug too much, but I've got this thing on my channel where I review every single team within a Grand Tour after each Grand Tour, and I vividly remember that every single Grand Tour this year, Cofidis was in the bottom lane, in the lowest category, because I realized after reviewing the race that they might as well have not started the race because I didn't see them, it's harsh to say, but they would have been better off having those riders in races that are happening at the same time because they didn't do anything at the Grand Tours they were at,
It's not just hindsight talking. We killed them for the Dylan Teuns transfer because it's a guy 33 years old, on the decline. How motivated is he going to be? Is he really going to mop up the Ardennes for you? And they just never took risks on younger guys outside of younger French guys, but they just never signed younger guys. And you're like, oh, Anton Schiffer, okay, he's very limited. Why would they sign Schiffer? But
Guangxi,
I mean, he's got a full-time job and he has 233 UCI points on a Conti team, and they could send him to all these French. So it's just a refusal to sign younger guys on cheap money, because money's not the only answer, and this is where we are. But maybe they come back. Maybe Aaron Broe saves them from the brink.
From extinction, mate. If that happens, I need to see an Aaron Broe statue in France somewhere. But that being said, Foster out. I don't know what the fallout of that is going to be, who's going to replace his role, etc. I have not read up into it as much as I could because, there's also not much news about the future after Foster out yet, but we'll be sure to monitor that. But now I want to bring you to the second chapter here because we spoke about the UCI 3-year cycle. There's also a second part I want to discuss, which is the automatic wildcard. So if a team is not a World Tour team, if you're a pro team in the second division of the sport, then you can get access to the top level World Tour races through wildcards. And that's partially automatic wildcards or wildcards that the race can give out to the teams that they want. Now, we're going to talk about those separately. First, I want to talk about the UCI automatic wildcards with you, Patrick. Those automatic wildcards are currently projected to be Tudor Pro Cycling, Q36.5, and Arkea. Arkea's in P3, but Arkea might fold. So, do we have a confirmation on that yet?
I think it's not looking good for Arkea at the moment. That's the latest news, but it's 2 weeks until you need to submit the documents to the UCI, so it's kind of make or break now. You basically have to submit by October 15 to the UCI your documents showing that you can afford to pay your bills and salaries for the next season.
Do we know whether the riders and staff have been informed that due might be upon them, that they were free to sign? Yes, right?
Well, yeah, there was an open letter from Hubert, which was basically saying you're free to go, which is the right thing to do. I mean, the opposite happened with Q365 with Q365. Yeah, but wasn't there like Simon Clark was thinking he was going to stay on Q365, and then in
Before
November
it was Q46.5, maybe when it was
NTT.
That crypto brand.
I mean NTT.
Yeah, I swear, NTT, and there was another brand next to it. Next hash. Yeah, because Next Hash doesn't pay.
Was that on the arse of Slovenia at Worlds?
That's Nice Hash. That's different.
Oh,
very
close.
difficult, eh?
How did you know that?
I did the research. That's why.
Yeah, so in 21, that kind of happened with Quebec and Next Hash. With B&B's Hotels, it was much worse, where literally like they were signing a whole. They said their budget was going up, and they signed a whole host of new expensive riders, and then they were out. So, but with Arcada, that's not happening. They've basically been told, like Vauquelin will be gone somewhere.
Okay. So, well, the rumors are saying Ineos, so let's see if it happens or not. We'll get back to that once the official transfers are announced. But so Arcea is currently P3 projected, which means if they fold, then it gives way for the 4th position, which is currently Cofidis, to get a guaranteed wild card.
Or Total.
We'll see how that happens. Total is currently in P5, you're right. So they're also
not
still
far behind
in the picture, but we also have news on Total, not relevant for next year, but for the year after that, Total Energy, the sponsor, will be departing the team Total Energy at the end of 2026. So we'll see what the future of that team holds after next year as well. We've got a lot of teams on the brink of disaster here. I feel like we've had multiple discussions in the last couple of years, even with EF back in the day about, is the sport in trouble? Are these small teams in trouble? Like, do we feel like it's increasing the amount of times we speak about teams potentially folding, or do we just forget about the times where it happened?
Well, there's the financial ones are what? Intermarché and Lotto will merge. Yeah. That's financial. Arcea is financial.
Yeah. Total is half financial because it's like the sponsor decides to put the money in a bigger team instead of sponsoring a small team. I count it as financial.
I think Total put the money in, didn't like what they saw after a few years, and now they're pulling the money out. It's my interpretation of that.
Yeah, I get that.
Because the Peter Sagan experiment probably wasn't a success.
Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, so I think it feels about the same. This sort of thing happens every year. The added kicker is the relegation stuff. Yep. Which also can imperil your team, or, Q365 come back into the sport, they're a pro team, and then bang, they're in the Tour de France next year.
Yep.
Like that, with the signing of Pidcock, 1 year later, they're in the Tour de France guaranteed next year.
I will say, maybe 2-3 years ago, when I looked at the 3-year cycle, etc., I looked at it as, it's now a real process to get a pro team that you create into the World Tour race, into World Tour, etc. But I feel like because of the fact that there's so many teams losing a sponsor there, or not necessarily doing the right transfers like Cofidis and ending up on the ropes, because of that, it actually goes quicker than I thought it would be. The pathway for even UNOX right now. UNOX
making it to World Tour is happening I thought they'll make it in another 3 years.
Yep. So the pathway is seemingly faster than I expected, which also means that it's, in quotes, easier to get back than I expected if you do drop out of World Tour. Like with Israel and Lotto, for example. They're now on paper projected to be back a World Tour team. So that's how I perceive that change a little bit. But just to round that off, so current automatic wildcards, Tutor Pro Cycling, Q46.5, and Arcea will get automatic access to all World Tour races. Is it still true that the 4th place will get access to the one-day races in World Tour? I think so.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, but yeah, I think Arcadia will fold, and then basically it will be Cofidis that get those other wild cards, and then Total will get
the
classics and Tour de France probably invite, which is frankly all they need. Like, yeah, Total are not ready to be a world team anyway. Like, it doesn't help them.
But now about the other wild cards, and I wanna lock in there for a second, and I want your opinion on this as well, actually, because if Cofidis ends up being saved, wait, no. So wait. So if Cofidis, if UNOX becomes a World Tour team, hypothetically, because of P19 in the 3-year cycle, if Cofidis ends up dropping out of World Tour, but getting the automatic wild card because Arkea folds, Total Energy gets access to classic races. Does that mean that the now French team Titema Rockets has more likelihood of getting access to French World Tour races? Because...
Well, who's ASO going to invite?
Exactly, because Arkea is inexistent in this hypothetical world.
So Total gets the first one?
And in the classics, they already have it.
They already did Roubaix, right?
Yeah.
And then who else are they going to invite? So for the Rockets, so they're not going to invite Caja Rural. They're not going to invite the Spanish teams. They're not going to invite Polti. So the only Pro Conti team left is the Titema Rockets or George Hincapie's new team.
Yeah.
So
looking very good for them suddenly.
The Rockets are probably going to be in the Tour de France next year, the way it looks like now.
That's crazy. That's actually...
and that's, again, 3 years earlier than I thought.
Yeah, same thing. But it is important. Only the top 30 of the UCI ranking, in terms of teams, can receive a Grand Tour wildcard. Titema Rockets are within that top 30, I think P24 something roughly, so they've got enough UCI points to get a Grand Tour wildcard next year. There's 2 teams fighting over P30 at the moment. That is Bardiani and Vini Fantini, but it looks like Solution Tech Vini Fantini is losing that at the moment, so Bardiani is projected.
It's close, though.
It is very close. Yeah, it's not concluded yet, let that be clear. But at the moment, Bardiani is in placement 30. I think they're both at Langkawi, but I could be wrong in that. Maybe you could check that. Right. But
so they're both at Langkawi, and indeed Rajovic, who's on Solution Tech Vini Fantini, he scored about 10% of their points. He DNF'd after stage 1.
Major blow.
Major blow, but also Bardiani. I don't know who they got there for GC, but it's important because if you don't get that spot, you can't go to the Giro next year. And if you're an Italian Pro Conti team and you can't go to the Giro, then what's your purpose? It's hard to justify it. So there's so many teams where the point stuff is life and death for the team. I mean, Bardiani they're gonna race until the last day of the year. They're gonna do Giro del Veneto on the last day of October if they have to, and it could go down to that.
Question. So I'm speaking about this top 30 thing. So top 30 of the teams in the World Tour ranking can receive a Grand Tour wildcard. We see that Bardiani and Vini Fantini are fighting over that P30. In 2025, it was top 40, not top 30. So they restricted it to top 30, which is going to be the standard from this point onwards. I think it's great to have a limit in the top X amount of teams in the team ranking to make sure that it's not just, we can give this to the shittest team in the world because they're Italian. That kind of vibe. I think it's good to have a sports merit attached to it. But is top 30 just a bit too strict?
So 18 world teams, and then that leaves 12 pro teams.
I think it's on the edge. I think it's...
I think it's okay. I think it's okay. On the other hand, it's good to have sometimes a really bad team because then like the organizer makes them go on the breakaways so the stage actually happens.
UCI should add a one rule where the last wildcard has to be given to a team outside of the top 50.
Well, I just think they should change the rules about UCI points during stages and then make breakaways happen again for the Italians in the Giro to get the stage over with. They do it in the UAE Tour in Poland. They had strong breaks or committed breaks because there was there was money.
I'm telling you, the Giro has the ranking to count the amount of kilometers in the breakaway, attach UCI points per 10 kilometers. One UCI point per 10 kilometers.
And they change the rules for their intermediate sprints every year. They have 50 different competitions, just attach UCI points to it. But
imagine.
I can imagine.
Imagine Bardiani going in the breakaway with
the whole team.
6 riders in a Giro flat stage of 180 kilometers. So let's say the break survives for about 125 kilometers. They would get 6 times 13 points. So they would get about 100 points, roughly 90-ish, in that single stage. That's making it worth it.
As they should. I mean, they should actually do that anyway. But anyway, all this talk about points, our longest discussion maybe ever about points, and we've now highlighted how important it is to every team. It's important to UAE at the top, but mostly it's important to every team at the bottom of the 3-year ranking. It's important for the pro teams wanting the annual wildcard, and it's important for the pro teams wanting to be invited to Grand Tours. It's important for so many teams, over maybe a dozen plus teams.
Yeah.
Every team, including, even mid-table teams. You got to be careful that you, in a 3-year cycle, if a top rider gets injured, so even the mid-table teams are keeping an eye on this because you don't want to get into a relegation fight in the last year and stuff can go south. And then there's been some new rule changes, and this is why it's not like a funny, quirky thing.
Yeah.
There's new rule changes where UCI points will be scored by riders doing non-road events. So if you have a Mathieu Van der Poel or a Toon Arts or a David Haverdings on Balwaza, Pidcock,
Hatterley at Jaco,
Hatherley, yeah. And if they score points in other UCI events, track, cyclocross, and I think mountain bike
and gravel,
yes, those points count to the rider and the team total. And why would the UCI do this, you say? Because the UCI owns more of those events, the series. And so they want better riders doing more of those events. And if you attach UCI points to them, which can mean the life or death of your team, you are much more incentivized to then send Yuri Leitao to do a whole track program for Caja Rural, because he might score more points there than on the road, even though you're a professional road cycling team.
For me, this is crazy because if you look at the way the sport is currently set up, every discipline has their rankings. There's a mountain bike ranking, there's a CX ranking, there's a gravel ranking, whatever. That kind of stuff exists. There's separate rankings. There's a road cycling ranking. Why should the mountain bike results deliver points into the road cycling ranking when the road cycling results don't deliver points into the mountain bike ranking? And the way, it's maybe a weird way of saying it, but if you're doing that, if you're making mountain bike points go to the road cycling stuff, for example, does the UCI then not care about women's cycling? Because otherwise they would be counting women's cycling points into men's road cycling to try and get teams to invest into women's cycling. Like that it's a weird way of looking at it, but it's true, no?
Yeah, but it's using the UCI point system to subsidize the participation in UCI non-road events. And what's next? Should Ineos, how many UCI points should Ineos get when Manchester United win a Europa League tie?
Mate, should Max Verstappen get points in the ranking towards his world championships because he won the local karting club?
Well, no, because Primoz Roglic did well at some race. No, both owned by Red Bull. Like, they're different sports. Or even...
Like people say it's not a different sport, it's a different discipline. I'm sorry, but it might as well be a different sport. I don't see it as the same sport, and I respect those sports, but if you want those sports to be more attractive to do stuff with that, then it's a weird way of doing it in this way because you're doing it and you're hurting the way road cycling. Imagine if I don't know, let's hypothetically say, imagine if Jaco Alula gets relegated in 3 years at the end of 2028 because Lotto Intermarché signed 7 track riders that we never saw in the road cycling.
Or more likely, that they have Toon Arts, who's like an average road cyclist.
Yeah.
And he scores 80% of his points in cyclocross this winter for Lotto. So it also increases the price and value of multidiscipline riders.
There's one thing there. Their release said limited points.
Okay,
so I assume that if it's 10 points in the other discipline, that it won't be 10 points in road cycling. But my reaction to that is, if the amount of points is so limited that it doesn't have a real impact, then it also won't have a real impact in the opposite direction to trigger teams to send riders in the first place. So if it's too limited, then it won't work in the first place.
Well, if it's limited, it will only affect the smaller teams. So if it's limited, that's not going to make Mathieu Van der Poel do more cyclocross events. It's not going to make Matthew Brennan get sent to more track events. It's not going to make Wout van Aert go to more CX events.
It's going to make Cofidis sign Viktor Koretsky to do some mountain bike races.
Yeah, and affect the relegation battle where 20 points is important.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how this is happening, actually. It's like, because like we said, UCI points are not like a nice to have.
Yeah.
They are really, really important for so many teams. And that was, kind of, I was like, yeah.
It's objectively such a stupid idea. Is it the Roodhof network, Patrick?
No, I don't think so, because they're good for UCI points.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also, there was a rule change as well that now every .pro event has to invite the top 5 pro teams to that event. Now, this is, and also the pro teams of their nation. So, I mean, Israel Premier Tech will be a World Tour team next year. So, but then we also saw in Giro dell'Emilia they've been disinvited, I think, in Bologna. But anyway, that aside, so they would have been covered by that if they were a pro team. If that rule was in place this year, every .pro race would actually have to invite them. Whether they accept the offer is another question. But like I said, the UCI ranking is also kind of still strange in that World Tour teams can collect points not in World Tour races, and .pro teams can be not invited to certain races, and it's all a bit strange. So
yeah. On that note, anyway, the person that's running the UCI has been re-elected by having an election against no one, because no one else apparently stepped up within the UCI.
Oh, really?
So he's been re-elected for the next period, which I think is 4 years. I could be wrong in that. But let's hope he does a little bit better than he's done in the last couple of years. I think that's fair to say, because even, well, like this whole document on UCI Media, the one that includes what we've been talking about, it also includes a discussion about the implementation of radios and the implementation of tracking, rider tracking at the World Championships, etc. Sure, that's a good thing. It's a good thing to have rider tracking for safety. I'm fully supporting that, but for me, it's the opposite idea that I have now, where we had the whole drama at Tour de Romandie, by the way. We haven't gone in depth into that on this podcast, where there's now rumors of the UCI going after the UCI, the licenses of the teams that were involved in that. So teams that didn't want the rider tracking of the UCI to be on their bikes, or no. What's the correct way to phrase this? Because those teams were okay with it being on the bikes, but they didn't want to put it on the bikes themselves for liability reasons. Or select a rider individually. Hey, we're not going to go into that specifically, but the one I'm talking about here is that if it takes a whole year to do rider tracking, a technology that already exists in this sport, to put on a couple races by the UCI, while in all the other races we don't have that yet, then the sport is working too slow on the safety of the riders. Because within a year, 2 riders could die.
Yeah, and more riders did pass away this year in cycling. But yeah, safety is going to be, I think, a major issue, continuing issue for the whole of cycling, for the teams, for the UCI, for everybody, for race organizers, who kind of, a lot doesn't get put on them. I've never seen a media release where a race organizer has been sanctioned in some way publicly for safety.
I have the same feeling, and
which seems implausible that across 160 World Tour race days, there's never been a safety issue.
That's the biggest bullshit I've ever seen. But I just have this feeling that not just the UCI, also the UCI, but not just the UCI, I would argue even teams and so forth, that I look at this sport and I see a sport that is prioritizing money and politics over safety 95% of the time. And it hurts me every time a discussion comes up, because there's nothing, I feel like, well, it's a weird thing, there's nothing I can do about it, which also makes it annoying, because it makes us feel small within the sport, you know? That it's sad that the people at the top don't realize that safety is so important.
Well, I think maybe they do, but they can't agree on a way to work together to figure it out. And it's a shared responsibility.
That's a lack of prioritization, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, there's also apparently the handlebars are now a slightly narrower handlebar is allowed because...
so the handlebar restrictions, you had two rules. The outer width of the handlebars, which was 40 centimeters, that stays the same. But the UCI forgot women existed in the sport of cycling. So they had the inner distance between the flares of the handlebars, so the brakes basically, to be 32 centimeters. That's now down to 28. So that has improved, and I feel like there's a review period now towards 2026, if I read the document correctly. So it's good that they adapted it, but it shows a clear lack of understanding of their sport, that it wasn't remotely correct in the first place.
Yeah, and we're seeing, like the Belgian Competition Authority opening an investigation into the gearing trial. So I think there's quite a lot of pushback coming on these issues. But yeah, they.
I sometimes feel like the UCI discusses with the Safer organization, and the Safer organization proposes things that is based on the input of the riders, and then the UCI decides something without going back to Safer or the teams, and then when that decision is out, everybody's like, that's not the outcome we wanted for this problem. That I feel like has happened twice this year. So the communication there is going all the rails wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, I must admit, the GPS tracking, I think a lot of people think that's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
And we need to find a way to have that happen. Gearing restrictions, I don't recall many people bring that up as the cause of crashes, or
no.
Because like, let's be honest, if you crash at 85 versus 88, I think it's bad either way. I think it could be curtains for you. But it's a
good thing that there's stuff like that happening, that there's research being done in that. I'm not sure the research has been done. I feel like the decision has just been made every now and then. But the fact that we're so focused on equipment, rider behavior, and like you said, we never go back to even the Basque Country crash. People are like, our rider behavior, stuff like that. I still haven't heard a single person in this sport talk about the fact that, yes, rider behavior and speed and descent led to the crash happening in the first place, but the consequences of the crash can be impacted by the stone blocks on the exit of the corner that caused the gravest injuries. If those are padded, then you don't have those grave injuries, or have lesser grave injuries. But nobody's speaking about that. Everybody's speaking about what could have prevented the crash instead of what could have prevented people having severe injuries. Both should be handled.
And why were there almost no crashes in the World Championships? Or barely any? Because there was no road furniture. And they're on a circuit, of course, and I don't, you go towards a sport where is every race eventually held on a smaller and smaller circuit, and then eventually we're just watching criteriums. That could be an inevitable conclusion, but also, there's no road furniture, so there's nothing to crash over, which road furniture causes a lot of crashes. Unsignaled road furniture causes a lot of crashes that cause generally broken bones. So, anyway, we'll go into the race previews now, Europeans and the Italian and Crow Race and the Italian Classics. But before we get to that, a reminder, on Thursday at 8 p.m. European time, we have the kickoff of the LRCP Join Zwift Indoor Series. It's a 12-week training block, and we have the FTP test on Thursday. And that basically allows you to set your baseline FTP and get the rest of your training properly dialed in. You can find out more through the link in the show notes. There's a landing page for this, which has all the info. You can just join us for the rides every Thursday. There's also a ride on to suit your time if you're in America or maybe the Australia. But I would say the Australia one, the European time might be good because I know everyone there is an early morning exerciser. The American timing is at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, we have an event every Thursday alternating between the FTP test, a race, some workouts, and it of course adapts to your level. You can be a beginner, you can be an expert. The races are in different categories, so don't need to be worried about whether you're in good shape or not. In fact, the worse shape, the better, because the training plan will have the most impact. So I think use this as a way to kick off. I'll be there on Thursday doing the FTP test. And all right, speaking of tests, we have the European Championships time trial this week, men and women's, both the same distance, 24 kilometers long, rolling terrain, a few little hills. It's in the Ardèche in the southwest of France. And we have then a 15 or about a kilometer and a bit hill, 5.2% to the finish, because we always have to have hill. Remco's come back. Remco, did you see his travel schedule?
I didn't see his travel schedule, but I just saw I'm in Belgium now, so I see Belgian news again. And the first thing I saw was Remco Evenepoel doing a recon of the TT parkour. So he's already here. So I assume that he traveled either Sunday evening or Monday.
I think, he traveled pretty quickly after the road race, maybe like Sunday night or Monday morning. He had to travel straight away to get over the travel, and then he's the favorite, obviously. But we do have Josh Tarling, which is pretty cool to see him back on the TT bike. Almeida's here, Vacek, Amirel Cavagna for France, Nicholas Larsen and Pedersen for Denmark, Ganna for Italy, Hayter's in actually magic form for Britain. I'll get to him in a second. Van Baarle Hola for Netherlands, Surtevis for Sweden, doing the elites, Kung and Bissiger doing for Switzerland. But yeah, Ethan Hayter, he smoked McNulty in a rolling TT in Luxembourg, which is about this distance.
It's not even close.
Like
27
seconds. Yeah, big gap.
If I look at him and Tarling at the moment, Tarling is coming back from that injury. He's had a couple of races since, but he hasn't been a top rider in those races necessarily. So it's not like he's come back with big activities. I'm a little bit worried that he might not be at his best level yet. So I'm feeling Hayter more than Tarling at the moment. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think Hayter's shown it, and it's a hit with the hilly course. I think Hayter should medal. I think Hayter will medal. Yep. I don't know Ganna's shape, how he's come out of the Vuelta. Is he just here to keep going, or I don't know? So I'm going to go with, it's hard to go past Remco Evenepoel, so I think Remco with the hill, I can't go past him. Remco, Hayter, Ganna is my top three.
I have the exact same podium, so I'm not even going to pick someone else. I believe in that factually, so that's that. But there's also the women's race. It's exactly the same, actually. 24 kilometers, mostly flat with the hill towards the finish line. And when it comes to that start list, we've got Juliette Labou is here, Henderson is here, Reusser is here, and okay, sorry, we can stop it there. I think Reusser wins.
I think it's going to be Reusser, Anna Henderson second,
Bredewold,
and maybe Bredewold or Nooyen third from the Netherlands.
That's a small start list, no?
Yeah,
That's where we had more countries in Europe.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe they know that they can't medal against Reusser or take the gold off her, and I think they're probably correct. If she's recovered okay from the World Champs TT, Reusser should win this very comfortably. Then there's the road race, of course, which is a pretty good parkour. It's an interesting parkour. It's just coming at maybe a strange time. 196.5 kilometers long for the men. They do the Saint-Romain de l'Europe climb, followed by the Val d'Enfer. And so the Saint-Romain de l'Europe is 7K, 7%. The first 2Ks is 9%. This climb is used in the Ardèche race in February. And then it's about 20 minutes long. McNulty, when he won, he went solo there in that one-day race. And then the Val d'Enfer, it's as the name suggests, very, very difficult, very narrow, twisty, steep sections at the end. It's about 1,600 meters at 10%. And they do 3 repetitions of those 2 climbs. They're put together by descent. And then the last one is 70 Ks to go of Saint-Romain de l'Europe. And then they just do Val d'Enfer loops with then there's also like a 300 meter punch. It's actually like 150 meters, like 12% punch in between. So
3 times the big climb, 6 times the small climb, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. The last time is 4K, 6Ks from the finish, the top of it. So yeah, it'll be a solo winner.
It will be, but the question is, what does the start list look like? And we've got Remco Evenepoel once again for Belgium to get away. Tish Benoot, Kras, Lesser, Meurice, Van Gils, and Vervagen. So a slightly different team than the actual world champs team for Belgium. Benoot is now also on the list, and I think I saw an article in Belgian media that he's going to be back in time, but no confirmation yet. Van Wilder, I don't know if he was supposed to do this, but he's definitely not riding it because he broke his wrist in that crash at the World Championships. Matthias Vacek is here for Czechia, unconfirmed though, the start list, but Mes Pedersen is a big name for Denmark. I know I should be going to Tadej Pogačar. Tadej Pogačar is here with a billion riders from Slovenia, and
you reckon Pedersen's Denmark's protected leader?
I think Skjelmose.
Not Vingegaard.
Vingegaard as well, fuck. Very difficult.
No, it's too hard for Pedersen. I think it's going to be...
I forgot Vingegaard existed because he wasn't at Worlds.
Well, he rarely races in October.
Yeah.
I
don't know what to expect from him, actually. Like, I expect him to be good.
I think the race is going to be Pogačar trying to go solo on Val d'Enfer.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can follow him. I think if
Why
Vingegaard,
not on the big climb with 70 kilometers to go?
Because he doesn't have to this time. I don't think. Whereas, who's he got here? Is Roglic doing it?
Nope.
Well, then he might have to.
The quick change of mind.
Who's he got that's going to survive that?
Mate, I don't fucking know, man. I'm looking at this team, and Tratnik is on the... It's not confirmed. I don't see a confirmed list here, so I can't tell you.
So yeah, I think Pog will want to create a selection. I think like he did in Worlds, on the longer climb, the last longer climb, and then he'll be with maybe Remco and one other. Is Ayuso here?
Yeah.
I think
No
Remco will relay with him, and then Pog will drop everybody on the Val d'Enfer. So, yeah. I think Denmark will play it like Vingegaard will try to follow, and then just not relay, and then Skjelmose can come back.
The question is, what is our podium going to be?
Sonny Colbrelli.
Sonny Colbrelli back from the dead.
The Luke reminded us of Paul Sexas.
Yeah, he exists.
What can he do?
Well, he can top 10 this race.
Surely Pogačar is not as good, but then he wants to win Lombardia.
What does that mean for this race? I think he's going to be at a good level. I think he wants to win this.
Especially because Vingegaard's there, you know?
But losing this is not as big as losing the World Championship, so that's some fact. It's like Dwars der Vlaanderen. This is Dwars der Vlaanderen towards...
Like, does he celebrate?
If he wins it, of course.
No. I mean, like, does he, when he won Worlds, like, what does he do?
I don't know.
Like, do you reckon he celebrates?
I have one picture on my phone that Pogačar sent me ever, and it was a picture of him holding a giant Quadamon bottle. So my assumption is yes.
How do you have a picture of himself on his phone?
No, I have a picture of him. that he
Yeah,
sent
but how
me
does a
with
picture of him
giant-
exist if he has a jersey on saying "Don't take photos"?
Oh.
I don't know, mate.
Yeah. It's from ages ago. It's from 2022?
Okay,
2021 maybe. I don't remember.
maybe 23 when he won Flanders. I'm gonna go.
I think when
with,
he lost the sprint to Van Barle, I think. No. Yes.
Who's gonna be good? I'm just gonna keep it simple and just go with Pogačar first, Gilmo's a second, and Sexas third.
I'm going for Pogačar first, Ayuso second, Renko third.
Ayuso's good in this. Ayuso's
Too
good in
late,
these sort of
buddy.
races
Too late.
because he won Drome Classic too. But, yeah. Okay, I'll allow Ayuso. In the women's race, it's a bit shorter. They have just one rep of the Saint-Romain de l'Europe and then 2 subsequent reps of Val d'Enfer. So I would say the race will open with about 40 Ks to go. We have Ferrand-Prévot.
Bruh, this parkour is a lot worse for the women.
I think it's fine.
Nah, I wanted to.
No, I mean,
Give me a bit more. Come on.
I think it's fine. I watched the World Champs.
I want to see them suffer.
France bring a super climbing team. Ferrand-Prévot, Bunel, Squibon, Labou, Kerbold, Music, stacked. Royce is there for Switzerland, wants to survive the climbs. Shabby might be the best puncher for Val d'Enfer. We have Nuvia Doma as one of the top punchers as well. Ludwig making her return. She's been a bit unwell, I believe. That's why she missed World Championships. Longoborghini for Italy with Trinca Colonel, who just won the Tour of Ardèche. Yeah, that's right. She won that like 2 weeks ago. Royakkers, Bredevold, Van der Breggen, Vollering, Marcus, Van Anrooy. Netherlands, of course, a very, very strong team. Mavi Garcia off a medal at Worlds for Spain with Benito. And no Ostalasa, okay. Zigart for Slovenia. The French have to win. The French have to win.
I don't trust them anymore.
After Worlds.
I don't trust them
Yeah, but
anymore after Worlds.
Bunel was the missing link. They should never have allowed Bunel to do the U23s.
Well, she did help Silajari win, no?
Yeah. Yeah, but she could have helped Ferrand-Prévot win.
Nah, wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have happened.
I don't think so either, but...
I feel like a group ahead with Bredewold, etc. wouldn't shock me.
I think
They can't
the
let it
Dutch
happen again.
Shouldn't the Dutch just ride negative?
Well, that's what they did.
No,
Voting,
but-
at least.
No, I mean, you use Vollering to follow moves. Who is faster in a small group sprint on this start list?
Let me try and take a look at.
There's
names
no
again.
Kim Lecourt Pienaar. ELB,
Noemi
maybe?
Rug?
No. I think Vollering can drop Noemi Rug on the Val d'Enfer.
Are you sure about that, buddy? I think so.
I think the Netherlands should play Vollering offensively and use Bredevold as the backup.
Did you know Andorra's here with 2 riders?
Yeah. Climbing puckle.
With Rocky Balboa.
So I think the Netherlands will
You
win.
didn't get the joke.
I got it. I think the Netherlands will win with Vollering. I think she gets it done and she's in the European Champs jersey next year.
Longoborghini wins.
Yeah, true. She was good. She said she was really good in Worlds. They just messed it up. The Giro dell'Emilia is on also the day after, which is very, very strange because the Giro dell'Emilia is literally the same sort of parkour, which is like crazy. Ooh. So normally you would hope that if you're going to do Europeans on the same weekend as Giro dell'Emilia, make it a sprinters parkour because Giro dell'Emilia is repetitions of the San Luca 5-minute wall over and over and over.
Roglic has to be here, right?
So the start list of Emilia, we have a lot of the top teams or world teams here, almost no announced riders. We have Florian Lipovitz as a provisional. Ben O'Connor's doing it. Pidcock is there for Q3. I think, Pidcock's winning Emilia.
I think it's a great call. But if Roglic is here, then I'm picking Roglic.
fair enough. Roglic has won before. He beat Pogačar here a couple of years ago in 23, before Lombardia. So
no love for Kian blah blah blah.
Um,
I'm not feeling it for Del Emilia. It's not the parkour.
I think he can I think he can do quite well. Top 5. Yeah.
Top 10. I agree with.
Yeah. I think he can do pretty well here. But yeah, Pidcock's just got that explosiveness at the end that gives him that X factor to win this when there's no Pogačar, maybe no Roglic. Same with like Lipovic was strong in this race last year in the rain. I think he was in a Shaspa tap behind Pogačar. But we'll see what the weather's like.
Because how do we assume UAE sends Del Toro to this race? Or what do we see when it comes to schedule Del Toro towards Lombardia?
Del Toro can't do Europeans. So
Carapaz neither.
Neither, yeah. So Carapaz will be here.
Del Toro's in Agostoni, Bernocchi, and Trevali. So skipping Emilia for now.
It's Fabio Christen. Jan Christen time, baby.
He's at Europeans, buddy. Right?
What?
No? Is he not?
No.
I saw Christen, but I don't know if it was Fabio or Jan. Jan Christen is doing Europeans.
That's crazy. He gets his one chance to be sole leader for the trade team at Emilia this year, and he wants to fight Poggi in Europeans. What? Anyway,
he looked pretty okay until a certain point on Monchigali.
That's why Europeans or Giro d'Emilia, the race organizers, they must be, and it's a small Italian.
So mad.
They must be pissed that the Europeans is on the same weekend with the same parkour.
And also, for the women's race, it's even worse, you know?
Yeah.
Because there it's more European focused, the favorites.
Yeah, because at least, Emilio could have Del Toro, Carapaz, and Pidcock can't do Europeans because of Brexit. So, the men still gets a good start list, but the women's really... Pardon?
Le Cour Pinard is Mauritius. That's not Europe, I guess.
Yeah, she can do it.
Don't know if she does.
Jesus. Yeah, we don't even know who's doing it.
Blind guess. Give me a second. I'm going to do a blind guess as well.
Who's Australian?
Sorry, Gigante. She was close last year.
Fisher Black. Fisher Black's cleaning this up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yo.
Fisher Black should win easy.
Oh, let me think.
You can't get a better pick than that.
I'm going to get a better pick than that.
Magdalene Valliers, world champ. There's your pick. It's a hill circuit. It's a hard hill circuit. It's what she's good at. So the women's at Emilia, they'll be happy. They get the new world champ.
Valieres.
You going Valieres? I'll go Fisher Black. For the women. So Europeans, they got to sort it out. They got us 1 week after Worlds, the same time as the Italian Classics. It doesn't work. They got to fix it. Put it in
during the Tour Down Under.
No. First week of February.
Mid-November, in the middle of the off season. Who's the best rider at 0% form?
Who's good in November?
The riders that do running in the off season. CX riders.
Yeah.
It's too early, maybe November. Ooh.
They're not going to do it in November. First week of February is when to do Europeans. Hype is an all-time high for a one-day race. It's the best time to do it.
At the exact time where New Zealanders are riding New Zealand National Championships. And Colombian National Championships in Colombia.
Exactly. All the non-Europeans are doing their own stuff then.
But
so just do it now.
Who's doing GP Marseillais, GP Bessèges, and Valenciana?
I told you, GP Marseillais becomes Europeans.
Who's going to Mallorca then?
I don't know. Fucking Yuri Leitao and Gleb Saritza. They can do that. The last race we'll preview is Crow Race. We have the first stage on right now, which is looking like a sprint stage. Breakaways 2 minutes ahead. It says that Ineos or Red Bull are controlling, so we do have a lot of sprints. I would say
4.5.
4.5 sprints. And so
4. Let's go 4.
4, there's one, the main GC stage is stage 4 to Labin. There's a 3.4k, 11% climb, about 20k from the finish. Then it's a 1700 meter, 6% uphill finish. We do have quite, well, a very good sprinter here, and then not so many sprinters. So we have Paul Magnier here with a whole team to control, like in Slovakia.
Yep.
And then,
Van
with all
Poppel?
due respect,
Van Poppel and Kogut come to mind for me.
the next best sprinters indeed are Kogut, who just won recently against a good field for Israel Premier Tech, Lonardi for Polti, Ben Turner for Ineos,
Wait.
Van Poppel for Bora.
What is the over-under on yellow cards for Danny Van Poppel?
He'll get one. There's 4 sprints, so he has to get one.
Well, based on his season so far, he would get 2 in 4 sprints. Because
UAE bring the GC favourites and defending champion Brandon McNulty. Tim Wellens is here also with Rui Oliveira. Oliveira probably go for his sprint himself. Mateo Ramirez as well.
Giovanni Lonardi.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting to.
I mean, none of these. Paul Magnier, if it comes to a sprint, he should be beating these people by bike lengths.
Yep.
So,
correct.
Good scheduling from Quickstep, I would say, to have the old win column. And for GC, I think Magnus Sheffield, good option against McNulty. On a short, steep climb. Paul Dublé is not here.
Mateo Ramirez and Wellens are here as well for UAE, by the way.
No, Wellens is on his last legs, I think.
Ramirez is on his first legs.
Yeah, Ramirez looks good. Ramirez looks good. I think Seb Berwick wins GC, no?
Okay, well, sure, buddy.
It's a steep 3k wall. All right, Seb's top 3. Seb is going to go on the steep wall, work with McNulty, and then, McNulty will win on the kick, but Seb can secure GC. I think that's the play.
Who's the best rider you've never heard of on this list?
Omrazel.
That's a rider people have heard of by now. We've mentioned his name multiple times. He should top 5 this race.
Yeah, Omrazel should top 5 the race. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Zana's here. He's pretty good. People heard of him.
Yeah.
Let me look through.
I'm trying to look at the lower teams on the list, but not feeling it.
For the sprints, I would say Mihailo Stolic, the Serbian on United Shipping.
Patrick Stosch on Vostr.
Yeah. And
why are we doing this? It's time to go to bed, Patrick.
No, I'm trying to find one random guy who could top 5 GC.
It's almost evening. It's time to go to bed for you.
Trying to find one random. Yes, I found him. He's on Equipo Confirma. Unai Iribar will top 5.
Okay, I'm happy for you.
Look how skinny he looks in his PCS photo.
Okay.
He's going to top 5.
Okay.
All right, that's pro race. UAE will probably win. That's how cycling works. Any other things going on with you, Benji? Anything you want to get off your chest?
Not really. I mean,
people didn't tweet at you about American sports events.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But no, should we keep it for next one? It feels wrong to do it at the end. Can we talk about there's a sport in the US that I've heard numerous times in the last 24 hours that there's something called the Mets, which have done dog shit in the last month. And
2 months.
I've noticed because whenever I'm texting Patrick in the last 48 hours, I feel like he's been unresponsive, and his wife has been texting me that he's lost the will to live. So I fear that we're going to have a one-man podcast in a week unless we therapeutically talk about what's happening with the Mets at the moment, my friend.
The Mets need to bring in Match In to improve the scouting network.
To find baby... Well, what sport is it again? Hockey? No, not hockey.
Baseball.
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 Fuck. Close enough.
And it's sort of his job, he move his scouting from Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico. He just moves it to the Dominican Republic.
Are the Orioles better or worse?
The who? The
Orioles?
Pretty bad, I think.
So the same, in other words. I've only
they're
watched
pretty bad.
one
Yeah,
match
the
in my
difference is,
entire life.
Benji, that the Mets have the highest fucking payroll in all of baseball, and they didn't make the playoffs despite there being an additional wildcard slot that they added, like the cycling has added. They
Like
somehow
automatic
barely...
wildcard slot, or
So they added an extra wildcard slot, and yeah, they have the most money, and I listened to the full half an hour David Stern's press conference yesterday.
So you're telling me that you were supporting the bests? No,
not the best.
No,
not the best.
The treasure chest team in the sport. It's like supporting UAE Team Emirates as a team in the sport of cycling.
No, because UAE are good.
Oh, yes, but why do you want to support a team that is
like supporting Broe.
Super rich but doesn't perform? Why not support a team that is super small in terms of finances and overperforms?
Because I was a fan before, and I was a fan because of David Wright and Carlos Beltran because they were so good on MLB 2K7. So I've just been a fan for 18 years of the Mets.
So because you played a video game in 2007.
Yeah.
By that logic, I'm a hardcore AC Milan fan because on FIFA 2007 I played with fucking Zadorf in the midfield.
I've never been to America.
Good.
Yeah, never been there. And yeah, they spent a lot of money, and it's actually interesting now to bring it back to cycling. Just watching how, like in cycling, the approach would have been different in that the Mets refused to bring up young players and pitchers and give them a chance early. When their pitchers went down, they didn't, because they wanted to maintain rookie eligibility over their star pitcher like Nolan McLean. Whereas, like UAE are like, oh, you did good in one race as a young rider, they move you up a level fast.
Yeah.
And in cycling, it happens way quicker. And yeah, the Mets don't make the playoffs. Very depressing. Whatever.
No, it's not whatever.
I'm not too beat up about it.
That's a lie. I can see you. I literally heard you crying all the way to Belgium yesterday evening.
Bro, why
you look like you haven't slept in weeks.
Paying $20 million for Brandon Nimmo, like didn't get Garrett Crochet. It's fucked.
It's like paying millions for Jakob Fuglsang when he's 75 years old.
No, it's like, yeah,
it's like Chris Froome.
I can't get into baseball too much. People have tuned out already. I can't get into it too much. But
see the sadness in your eyes, buddy. Sadness.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. Pete Alonso's opting into free agency. Edwin Diaz is going to opt out. It's fucked. So Juan Soto, $750 million.
Juan Soto.
He was fun. He was fun. Whatever.
Juan Sebastian Soto.
Juan Soto only paid less than Juan Uzo on Little Trek. All right, that's all from us
Jose
today.
Nelson Soto. Sorry, right? Am I right?
What?
Jesus Antonio Soto. Conti sprinter.
And there's a Soto, the Chilean national champ on Ostalaza's team. She's also Soto. That's all from us. We're done. Mets are done. So very sad. Worlds are done. Europeans are here. So's Giro dell'Emilia. We'll see you with a recap this weekend. Ciao, ciao.